So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Prevent seminar on business intelligence on Microsoft platform. Today, we will concentrate on what kind of technical components on Microsoft platform are required to create a great business intelligence solution. And also, we will touch a little bit on what kind of what do all those components cost that are required, and what does the cost of those components depend on? Today's seminar will be recorded, so all participants will, after seminar, receive a link to a recording. During seminar, you can ask questions. So there is a button on your Teams screen where you can ask questions. I will address those questions at the end of the seminar. And if you have afterwards any questions, then feel free to contact us and ask those questions. So we are more than happy to answer all your questions. But let's get going. First, I would like to tell a little bit about myself. My name is Toomas Mõttus. I'm responsible for business intelligence, Power Platform products, solutions in Prevent. I am Microsoft certified specialist, so I have completed certification exams on Microsoft Office 365 and also on different Azure platform products, and also I'm a data analyst certified, and I don't know, something else. So I have been Microsoft certified specialist now more than 20 years. Yeah, I think that says it all. So if you have any questions on Microsoft platform, then probably I know the answer. So, and now let's talk a little bit about Prevent. We are an IT company. We started as an infrastructure company, but as we saw that infrastructure is becoming more and more cloud-based infrastructure, where there are no servers to manage it, more into data management side, then all these Power Platform competencies and what we have built are related to this new way of doing IT. And we look at what are those different needs that people in organizations need to make their businesses more successful. And we concentrate on those things and help people to make the businesses more successful. And those main business areas where we feel ourselves specialists are related to Teams and remote work. As Teams is a growing requirement, and much of remote work depends on Teams product. We also have internet products on Microsoft SharePoint platform, where we integrate Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps applications into a valuable environment where companies can keep their employees informed. We have data services department, what we are talking about today, where we are concentrating on Power BI reports as our main reporting product that we are using. But as Power BI has strengths in mostly in reporting side, in data preparation side, we also need to use some other Microsoft solutions on Azure platform, and I will talk about those Azure platform services also today. And of course, in every solution, we have to look at the security side. We are doing a lot of security projects lately. We're seeing that the world is changing. There are cyber attacks happening every day, and our clients need to be ready for those attacks, and we are helping them to secure their infrastructure, secure the users, the data that their users are using, and also are helping to train employees so that they will not be open to hackers who just want to steal information from organizations. And we are pretty good at Microsoft platform. So currently we have, I think, more than I don't know, more than 10 at least, yeah, more than 10 different gold level competencies with Microsoft, and we are Microsoft CSP partner. That means that we have a direct licensing agreement with Microsoft. And although we are mostly concentrated on selling our services, offering services, not that much those licenses, having direct access to Microsoft sales organization and licensing organization means that when our customers have any kind of problem with Microsoft solutions, that some kind of this cloud solution is not working as expected, we have direct access to Microsoft specialists, and we can repair and fix those things faster than most of other IT companies who have an indirect relationship with Microsoft. So we are really proud of that achievement. It required a lot of training from our employees and also certifications and everything to achieve that, and we did it. And Microsoft even has how to say, we have been Microsoft Partner of the Year several times. Behind me, you can see all those scarves different from different years, and we were also last year Microsoft Partner of the Year, and we tried to continue that trend. So to be the best specialist in Baltics on Microsoft products. And we're also looking at like those communities we are working with. Every year we are doing some pro bono projects for non-profits, and we also try to help communities help in critical situations. And when COVID pandemic started, we worked with Synlab, who is a COVID testing company in Estonia and Lithuania. We helped them to create this solution for Rally Estonia so that all the rally teams could check whether those team members are positive or negative, and it had very strict security requirements for that, and so that all that health information would stay secure. And now Synlab is using the same solution for new events and also for reporting to government institutions. So we help them to create a totally new this environment, secure environment for external reporting. And we also did a lot of teams related trainings when COVID pandemic started. There are still those videos of how to do different things in Teams up on our website. So if you go and check our website, then you will find those videos, and we try to update as Teams evolves and new functionality becomes available, so that they can still be useful. But yes, it was a huge effort from our team in March 2020. It was in a week we created a lot of like these instructional videos just to be to help our clients to take advantage of Teams capabilities and enable remote work. So this about our company Primend. Now let's go to a BI solution and why we need BI solutions. Most of these like reporting that companies have in place nowadays are like concentrate on results. All accounting reports are based on results, and that means that these events that affect those results have already happened a month ago or 2 months ago, and you cannot have any effect on those results anymore. These results are as they are, and therefore companies need those reporting solutions which are more flexible and can look at more different data sources and bring data together from different data sources so that you can already affect performance of your employees or some like processes that you can redo your processes and affect results already before those results come in. And that's one of the main reasons why companies build those BI solutions. And when they start this journey of BI, then first they look at what happened, and then they want to know why did it happen and what will happen. So it's like at different stages. But first, of course, in first stage, everyone looks at history and see. And the reason why they look at history is that historic data is usually better structured than data that looks into future. So you can have some kind of structure, how your data is built, and you can have that structure built into your reports, and then you can start looking at future and making predictions what might happen based on events going on, and then you can see what kind of like results you can expect of current trends. And of course, the holy grail of it all is that all the companies want to understand what do they have to do to achieve great results, and that is always the hardest question to ask. And here AI solutions usually come to help, but they still need like input from employees, and because this AI still rely on data that you feed them, and persons in your business usually have more data than AI solutions. This is like the main journey. And while building this BI business intelligence solution, the main platform in our region has been Microsoft SQL Server with different services within that SQL Server, like integration services, analysis services, reporting services. Here you have also MOS, this was like Microsoft Office SharePoint services, where you could put this reporting services reports, and then there was a Power, the performance point server, all those services. And while building solutions in this way, the initial investment was quite high. You had to buy a server, you had to buy SQL licenses, and only then could you start building a solution. And that means that it was quite prohibitive for mid-range and small companies. With cloud solutions, it's usually easier, so that you can start small. You can start almost for free. You don't have to like pay anything upfront. You pay maybe consultants, and if you want, you can do it yourself also. And there's products where you can start like cheap, at least at the beginning. Of course, as you grow, you add more data, you achieve more value, then you pay more, but that's okay. If you get more value, then it's okay to pay more. So I like the model of cloud solutions. And there are also other reasons for upgrading to cloud. For example, sometimes you have to replace your existing data center. So do you buy all those new computers that you might not even need, or you can just create a new cloud environment for that? Or maybe you need improve your security processes and compliance processes. For example, if you take Microsoft platform, then Microsoft has already done a lot of auditing themselves. So there are like ISO audits, security audits, ISO personnel information security, environment standards that Microsoft Cloud adheres to. So it's easier to take Microsoft platform that is already secure, that already been audited, and to integrate into a solution, and to take some products and start building that solution yourself. So it has a lot of different advantages, this cloud environment. And and I think the main thing with cloud is that you can start small. You can just try out your business processes. You can do these proof of concept projects where you try out whether you achieve value, and you don't need to make any large hardware investment or license investment upfront. And it's like less risk in trying out new stuff. And in this current environment where situation is changing rapidly and you never know what will happen tomorrow, a lot of companies don't want to make those IT investments where they buy huge amounts of hardware and then start to deprecate it over 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, because you don't know what will happen 3 years or 5 years. Why do you need to make that cost now? So a lot of companies are going with cloud to mitigate that risk that's in future. And talking about security, every time we talk about cloud, there's a question of security, because this is one thing that's like out of your hands. You don't see it with your own servers. You can open server room door and look at all this hardware, and you can be sure that it's in your server room. But with cloud solutions, there is a possibility that you know that you have data, but you don't know where it is or what are the processes around it, and can you be sure that no one else except you has access to that data, and do you want to know who has access to your data, and what are those backup policies and everything. And Microsoft has thought about all those things and integrated different technologies into cloud, so that your data is secure. It's like firewalls have several levels of protection before any user can access databases, and also there is compliance processes related to auditing. So I think currently Microsoft Cloud is probably the most secure public cloud in the world. So there may be some military clouds that are even more secure, of course, but we can still use only public clouds. And on that thing, then I think Microsoft is best when you consider security. If you have already in place that old school solution that I showed you a couple of slides back, with SQL Server, analysis services, integration services, and you don't want to go fully this platform as a service to platform as a service offering, there is an opportunity for you to upgrade your SQL Server to Azure, update those services to Azure. And here you have different upgrade scenarios. The cheapest, of course, is Azure SQL database, which is on the right here. Here, this pricing starts from like 20 euros per month. So if you start using SQL database, and you can manage it with the same tools that you use to manage your on-premises SQL database. So it's like very similar in architecture, very similar in how it behaves. But there's this but factor, and but factor is that there are no analysis service, integration service, these kinds of additional services that are usually used in business intelligence solutions. To have is integration services, you need to use Azure SQL managed instance. And if you want to have also analysis services within, then you can use SQL Server on Azure as a VM, which is fully managed by Microsoft. It's upgrade cycle, but or you can also have your own, totally own this virtual machine where Microsoft doesn't do anything. You have to do everything yourself, but it's fully in your control. You have options, and there are services in Azure to replace those services that are not included in SQL database. Okay, we have an additional slide about all those different upgrade scenarios. So you can have, if you have using those VMs, then this is basically the same structure as on your own hardware. You have reporting services, analysis services, integration services, basically exactly the same stuff. What's the difference between, for example, your own environment and the Microsoft environment is that when you have very old business intelligence solution on, for example, on SQL Server 2008, and you don't have any kind of support anymore, then when migrating to Azure, Microsoft offers you additional year of support for those old SQL platforms for upgrading purposes. So if you first move your VMs with SQL servers to Azure, you will have an additional year of support for that, and this gives you a year of time to upgrade the server or move those processes that you have on the SQL Server to platform as a service products, which I will talk now. And those platform as a service products are to replace integration services. You have in Azure Data Factory, which is basically the same type of thing. It's just all web browser management console. You can do everything from a bar browser. You, of course, can also synchronize this solution to your Git or DevOps environment, so back up there and manage versions. And this data factory is also available in this integrated Microsoft integrated analytics product called Synapse, which I will also talk later on. For reporting services, you can replace it with Power BI. And if you need print reports, then there's a separate product called Power BI Report Builder, where you can also publish those reports to Power BI portal, and you can also have like these paginated, Microsoft is called those paginated reports, but basically what it means is like the reports that you format in a way that these are for printout, because these usual Power BI reports are meant for consuming on computer screen. There is a separate service for analysis service in Microsoft Azure, and it's called Azure Analysis Service. No, from name perspective, no news there. But majority of our customers actually are not using analysis service from cloud. They are instead using Power BI. So if you don't have really huge data models, then you don't need to use analysis services, because they're exactly the same technology that's included in analysis services is in Power BI, and you can create exactly the same models in Power BI. So why would you use an additional service? You would use only if your amount of data that is in your model is huge, and you don't want to buy some Power BI product with that huge memory available, then you have this Azure Analysis Service. But otherwise, 99.9% of cases, Power BI is okay. And you, of course, can use your infrastructure service, like install your own virtual machine and use analysis service from there, but it's not cost effective. So if looking from cost perspective, it's the worst solution. It might have some flexibility that's not available on cloud platform, but it was an option a couple of years ago, but now I think it's cloud only. Power BI, cloud only, Azure Analysis Services provide all the same services. So, there is one thing I think, if you still have these MDX or models in your analysis services, then those Power BI and Azure Analysis Services don't support. I think it might be in change. Maybe Azure Analysis Services will support it, but Power BI definitely will not support MDX models. So if you have MDX models and you need to migrate those very rapidly to cloud, then there is an option to use those virtual machines for some time. What does Power BI consist of? In Power BI, we have different parts. The first is like Power Query. So let's go with pictures. So put data flow, tabular model, report, dashboard app. Okay. First is like this Power BI interface. Maybe I will switch to Power BI so it will be more interactive than just looking at slides. So here we have one report which was created to see stuff on Microsoft Office 365, Microsoft 365 platform, usage on that platform. And the interface of Power BI is so that you have this like a report section. You have a section where you can see the data report is based on, so you can like browse it here and see in more detail. You also can see how data in one table is related to another table. So you build a data model here. And on this right-hand side, you can choose different those visuals that you can use in your report. And if you don't find any like visual that's what you like, you can, for example, even use R and Python visuals here, or Power Automate and Power Apps stuff. But if you don't find anything that you think you like, then you always can go and say get more visuals, and it will hopefully open. I don't know why. Okay, it's just my computer isn't the fastest one right now. You can open it's like App Store that Microsoft has for Power BI visuals. Majority of those visuals are for free. So if you look at like a visual from, there's a lot of additional visuals from Microsoft. These are all free, but there are also third-party visuals. And so you can have a lot of different ways you can present your data, and you just add them to your visual catalog, and you see those visuals that have been added are below here. And for every visual, you have configuration options. Here, I think it's like cover here. So if I want to open that visual and change it, I have configuration options I can here manage. And I also can add data by just dragging and dropping. And if you want to automate this update process of your reports, then you can just go and publish those reports to Power BI portal. There is also this Power Query side where you can just open Power Query editor and where is it? So it's here. Yeah. Power Query. I have nice. I think I got it now. So here you can make connections to different data sources. You can record steps that you are doing with data. This report takes data mostly from Microsoft APIs, so it's already formatted in this way. But if you need to do some changes to formats, then you can add these steps, and every time Power BI refreshes data, it will just go through all those same steps and do the same steps that you have recorded here. And if you are satisfied with your report, you can go and publish that report to a web service, which is this Power BI. So I have some problem with maximizing windows while sharing it on Teams. So this is how this report looks like in this web portal. And very often people ask me, when it's like in web portal, can I make changes to that report? And like easy answer or answer is actually, it depends. And what I mean by it is that you can go and edit that report, and you can do the same stuff I did on desktop. I can I will move that, for example, that away that cover here, and then I can go and select a visual and start changing that visual from here and adding some kind of new parameters, or I can go and take some stuff and add it here. But you can do this this kind of fine tuning of reports. But what you cannot do is you actually cannot add here those measures, or you cannot change how data in different tables is related to each other. This kind of change, you cannot do it on this website. You need to do it in Power BI desktop, or there are third-party products also where you can do it. But Power BI desktop is the best in the sense that it's for free. So, and I will talk about that part also now. How much does Power BI cost? This is also the question every time I talk about Power BI and Microsoft platform, and every time people ask me how much does it cost. So cost structure is actually very straightforward. If you are using Power BI desktop for bringing data together, making those reports, and you refresh those reports in your own computer, then it's for free. So, and the best way to get Power BI desktop is to open Microsoft Store in your computer, find Power BI desktop there, install it, and that's it, and it's for free. And I recommend using it that way, because there is an option also to download Power BI Desktop from Microsoft Power BI website. But if you download Power BI Desktop from that website, you have to upgrade or update Power BI yourself. And Power BI is in quite rapid development, and there is a new version or iteration of Power BI every month. And if you and your colleagues are doing active development on Power BI Desktop, then and your colleague has made an edit of a Power BI file with a newer version of desktop product, then you cannot edit that file. So it's better to install it from Microsoft Store, so that all your these like Power BI desktop products would be in sync. And if you need to edit those files, you can do it. Okay, the next step is that when you are satisfied with your data model, you are satisfied with how your report looks, you can upload it to Power BI web service. It's like Power BI free is the first year, and there you can upload that report and set automatic data refreshes and stuff. And then it automatically updates those reports. And this is also for free. You don't have to pay for anything. But if you find that your reports are really, really nice and you want to share those reports with your colleagues, and your colleagues also think that your reports are very nice and want to use those reports that you have created, then you and your colleagues need to have Power BI Pro license. That means that all this functionality that's related to sharing and caring, this functionality is for money. And but it has additional opportunities. So you can do the sharing. You can also have the filters that take into account the person who has logged in. So you can build in filters in your reports, so that, for example, Estonian office can see only Estonian data, Latvian office can see only Latvian data, Lithuanian office can see only Lithuanian data. But on corporate side, you just go and say that this top management, group management, they can see everything. And you only have to maintain one report. You don't have to do like 4 different reports, one for management and 3 reports for different Baltic countries. You just make one report and define this row level security feature, and you just update one report and everyone can use it, and you have like the security in place. This is a very neat feature, and it's being used more and more. And there is another product called Power BI Premium, and this is like this kind of plan for mostly data analysts, because there you can have larger those data models. With Power BI, the data model maximum size is 18 gigabytes, I think, 16 gigabytes. And if it's larger, then this Power BI desktop application cannot open it. And you need to, if you have huge, up to 100 gigabyte these data models, then you need to edit those data models on cloud. And that, in this premium, Microsoft provides this functionality called XMLA endpoints, and you can use third-party products to edit those models. So you cannot do it to Power BI desktop. So it's when I'm talking about like this Power BI Premium per user product, then that means that's mostly for developers. So it's not like a product for business consumption. It may be, but it's not like the main target. And as you see, it's like €8.40 per user and €16.90 per user. Microsoft will be raising those prices very soon. So I don't know by heart what will be those new prices, but some of our customers are currently fixing, having these making those annual agreements to fix that price for a year. It's possible, I think, still. But that means that you have to know how many Power BI licenses you will need this year, so you can fix a price for a year. If you don't know, then and you buy licenses by a monthly basis, then they will be a little bit more expensive in just a few weeks. And in these per user, these slides show those options for per user licensing. There are also per capacity licenses. The cheapest one are embedded licenses. That means that you can embed those reports in different applications like SharePoint or your own customer portal. And this embedded licensing starts from about 640 euros per month. So this break even is about that 70 users. After that, it's probably more reasonable for you to use Power BI embedded for report consumption. And there's also this product called Power BI Premium, which is a solution with quite a lot of resources. So if you have a huge data model, huge number of users, like enterprises very often have, then Power BI Premium may be your way of doing it. And there are also smaller companies, some using this Power BI Premium. It's of course expensive, but if you have large data models and you need to have those data models of hundreds of gigabytes maybe, and you want to run them fast, then even then this Power BI Premium may be your option. So it's not only about users, but also about what kind of data you are using and what kind of functionality you want from Power BI. And for those who say that cloud, we don't believe in cloud, we want it only on premises, there is a product called SQL Server, Power BI Report Server, and that is quite a cheap option compared to Power BI Premium, but that Power BI Report Server usually is about half a year behind in development cycle compared to the Power BI on cloud. So you have to take that into account, that if you want to use some new functionality and nice new features, then it will take time before those appear on Power BI Report Server. And if you know something about SQL Server licensing, then this Power BI Report Server requires that you have active SA. This is software assurance. It isn't like you just buy SQL Server and start using it. It's not included in just SQL Server license. You need to have software assurance, and I think it was also in this enterprise version, not standard version. So, and there are some restrictions. So it's not for everyone, but if you are a larger company with very strict security requirements and you have this for example, in Estonia, we have those companies or institutions that manage this strategic state data, and they cannot put any part of that data on public cloud, then they are using this Power BI Report Server. Another thing, if we're talking about this as a product portfolio that Microsoft has and Power BI, then Power BI is very well integrated with our Power Platform products called Power Apps and Power Automate. With Power Automate, you can have business workflows to automate your tasks. So it takes from one service data and puts it to another service. It can also be integrated, as I showed you. There are buttons for Power Automate for Power BI reports, so you can make a selection in your Power BI report. select data and start Power Automate workflow from there. We did a quite neat demo about it, like at the end of last year together with Kevin. So if you look at like back those seminars and find this Power Platform seminar where we did with Kevin, then we had a demo there also about that one. And you can also integrate Power Apps into Power BI. I used to tell to people that in Power BI you can mostly consume reports. You cannot enter data. You just can look at data, but you cannot enter. That has changed. So Power Apps, you can put Power Apps visual on Power BI, and if you need to enter new data, then you can do it. We are using it mostly in this maintenance. For example, we have some kind of additional tables for category data or for sorting or something like that. And when new categories need to be added to these tables that Power BI uses for like better structure of Power BI reports, then those analysts who maintain those Power BI reports can do it straight from a page on Power BI report to add additional categories and enter this, and it will be in your Power BI report, and you don't have to go and find where this category data is stored. They're very nice feature. I like it a lot. And there is a Dataverse product Microsoft is actively developing. It's the newest addition to Power Platform, and it basically is a structured database where you can keep data that Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps can access. And if you add some data from Power Apps to Dataverse, Power BI can read it from there. You can also configure Dataverse synchronization to SQL databases, so that if you add something from Power Apps to Dataverse model, it will automatically convert and synchronize to a SQL server, and Power Apps developer doesn't have to have access to SQL server. They just need access to Dataverse and have exactly the tables that they need. They update only those, and it's also in larger companies it's used to like have this more granulated access to source data, or if developers are developing new supporting applications for the business processes. And it has, so Power Platform also has hundreds of connections to different services, so you don't have to build those connectors yourself. You can connect to any of those hundreds of services, bring data in, and with Power Apps you can the Power Automate you also can like write data back. So it's a very neat solution for very rapid development. There may be, of course, some kind of functionality that those connectors do not support, and you might want to, I don't know, write your own Python code. It's also possible, but there are already available hundreds of different connectors and different services. So if you need to like bring data in, it's easy, or update data very rapidly, it's also easy to do. And all those services I have been talking about, like Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, are very well integrated with those Azure services, which are more addressed towards those developers. So if Microsoft's vision is that these Power Platforms products are actually so easy to use that any business user can manage using those applications and developing those applications. If you are doing some really easy applications, possible, but usually you need some expertise in that application. So it's not that easy if you need more complex workflows. But it's still I would say that nowadays every person who is like computer literate should be able to create those easier applications on Power Apps and Power Automate and Power BI. It should be possible. But if you need to develop, you need better this release management and everything, then you should consider Azure services there. You have different Azure functions, logic apps, which logic apps we use extensively because it's almost the same as Power Automate, but it has a layer of configurability that Power Automate doesn't have. So we're using it extensively on Azure side, and we can also have a better version management here. And then there are like these platform services like from Microsoft where you can just take data from different Microsoft services or Microsoft Graph. You can use SQL Server. And the newest addition to this platform is Azure Synapse Analytics, which used to be called Microsoft Azure SQL Data Warehouse, but it's a lot more. Now, the product that was called Microsoft SQL Data Warehouse was just one component of Synapse Analytics. So it has gone through a lot of development recently. And I really recommend it when you are building a data warehouse solution. And talking about prices, to start with Azure Synapse Analytics, it doesn't cost anything because this Synapse this interface is for free. You don't have to pay for that like workspace you are using there. But when you are starting adding data there, adding those CSV files from different systems that you bring in, then you start paying for storage. It's like 19 euros per month per gigabyte, and gigabyte is a lot of data. So if you are just starting your this solution, and then it's like 20 euros per solution. It's not like expensive. On average, when we're talking about these solutions that we are making here, it's like average solution for a retailer company usually starts at about 100-150 euros per month this cost on these processes. But it depends, as it's like cloud service, and it depends on the amount of services that you use. Then it depends, the price, final price depends how often do you want to update the data. If you update data once a month, then maybe your cost is like 25-30 euros. If you update it once a day, then you pay maybe 100 euros. And when you update every 15 minutes, it may be 500 euros. So it depends on how often do you want to update your data and how fresh the data has to be at every point. It's very similar to this like backup solution where when you need to keep this RPO very short, then it doubles very rapidly the price. But you can start very, very cheap. And this Synapse solution that I was talking about is storage is on Azure Data Lake. So basically from storage side, you don't have any limits. It has two core technologies there. First is SQL, which is like Microsoft SQL, and also there is a Spark SQL service. And it has a lot of Microsoft added functionality to integrate with Active Directory, to have this Active Directory integrated management. You have one console for monitoring, you have a security console. So if you take it all together, then it's quite a nice, neat environment. And I think I have also option to show you it. So this is like, this is how it looks when you open it. So it's a welcome screen here. You can start bringing data into your solution, then you can analyze it here and also connect to Power BI reports so that you can directly edit Power BI reports from Synapse. Here you can see different databases that you have in your have defined in your solution, and also these data lake storage locations where you just like a file storage. You can add new places where you bring data in. Then you have this development side where you can have SQL scripts and also these like Jupyter notebook style stuff. And also you can have connections to Power BI reports. You also see here all those pipelines that you build. These have been very visual form. So if you have been using previously this SQL Server integration services, it looks very similar. In SQL Server integration services, the main difference I would say is from an SSIS, you build the workflow from up to down. Here you build it from left to right, so it's like the main difference. So it's the same logic and very similar. So if you are coming from SSIS, then it's very easy to understand. And there's like a separate page for monitoring, so you can see all that has happened. So you can see, also go deep and see what are the steps. So it was like quite easy one-step stuff. Maybe I can show you something like, so here it's like more steps, but you can go to every step and see what's happening there and when and how long did it take. So it's a very neat environment to put to manage all your data warehouse data. As I said, this studio itself doesn't cost anything. This data you store there starts consuming resources, then that's where you start paying. And if you start small, you don't have to pay basically anything, and you pay when you your solution grows larger, you achieve more value. So here I have some screenshots of how those looks here. Yeah, here you can also like manage your Power BI report. What I have to warn you is that with all those like new solutions, it's you really need large screens. So if you have just a laptop, then probably you might have some functionality hidden away behind your this screen edge. So use large monitors. All those current solutions expect you to have proper large monitor. When you have already collected your data and you have all the data in place, you need to analyze it. And one way to analyze it is to have some artificial intelligence workflows. The easiest is to have cognitive services, where it's like this AI is already pre-trained, but you can also build your own environment. When you're building your own environment, you can have this Apache Spark environment, which is Databricks. This is like almost like like how it comes is Apache Spark. So it's like Databricks has done a good job in standardizing all the components of Apache Spark, and it's offering it on a Microsoft Azure platform. So you can just provision the Databricks from there and start using it if you have experience with Apache Spark. But if you need to do more than just Apache Spark, you can go with Microsoft Synapse Analytics, because Microsoft has integrated all the Apache technologies into Synapse. So you can have all the same stuff that's in Spark, also in Synapse. Use the same languages: SQL, Python, Java, Scala, R, and Microsoft has added also .NET support. So if you are a .NET developer and want to use Spark technologies, but you like all those .NET C# style stuff, then you can do it in Synapse, use Spark with .NET. So really nice environment. All the developers who, whatever the language your preferred development language is, it's most of them are supported here. So it's really nice environment. And here is a picture of what's like this standard architecture we are using here in Primend. So when we need to bring data together from different sources, we use usually Synapse environment, so that we bring the data into this bronze level storage where it's like a raw data. Then we do cleanup, and then when data has been cleaned up, we add it to a data model and provide that model level data as a SQL server data, or it can be even like file data if we also this Power BI wants it in file. But usually we supply it as a SQL data. It's easier for Power BI reports, so you can also provide all this formatting of the data fields also. And in Power BI, on Power BI side, we define what this data model has to look like, how the data is in different tables is connected, and users can consume this Power BI report from Power BI or from Excel, because now Excel supports also connecting to these cloud data models. And you can have the same experience with Excel, like maybe financial users have used to use these pivot tables, connect to data on Power BI, and use pivot tables to transform the data into a structure that you like. So this is how it looks like. And do we have any questions? Have a look at this. Where is my team screen? So guys, why don't you ask questions? I am here ready to answer your questions. So yeah, one question people always ask, as I told you about this, like how much does this signups cost? I said that it costs nothing to start, and then you pay as you go. But if you already know what's your environment like, how many times a day you want to update your data, and what's the size of your data, then we can do your calculation. What's approximately the budget you need to prepare yourself for, and then you can make informed decision whether signups is the right decision for you or not. Another thing that people ask me is like whether signups is actually required for Power BI reports, and I say it depends. If your source data is very well structured and you can get it to one go, then you can connect Power BI directly to your source data. For example, you can have the CSVs, Excel, SQLs connected directly to Power BI, and we can cut out the signups part and show reports directly. But if not, if you want to integrate different data sources, a large number of data sources, and you want to do a lot of transformations in the back end that may take a long time, then it's better to have some other solution in between that already provides clean data to Power BI. So this has been our experience and approach. Okay, guys, thank you for listening for me 1 hour straight. It has been quite a talk, and I have been talking very rapidly. So if you need to re-listen some parts, we are recording it. And thank you, guys. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask and send me an email to thomas.mottos@primant.com or info@primant.com is also okay. So thank you and see you soon.